Before the first bomb fell, before the first tank rolled across Europe, before soldiers met on blood-soaked beaches, another war had already begun. It was silent, invisible. Fought not with bullets, but with numbers, patterns, radio waves, and minds. Sharp enough to bend logic itself, this hidden conflict would decide the fate of World War II long before victory parades filled the streets. This was the Codebreakers' War. World War II is remembered for its massive armies, devastating weapons, and global destruction. Yet behind every major battle, every sudden victory, and every avoided disaster, intelligence agencies were fighting a shadow war that most civilians never knew existed. Messages crossed oceans every minute, encrypted by machines believed to be unbreakable. Whoever could read the enemy's secrets would control the future of the war. Germany entered the war, confident in its technological superiority. At the heart of this confidence was the Enigma machine, a complex electromechanical device that scrambled messages into unreadable code. With billions of possible combinations, German commanders believed Enigma guaranteed absolute secrecy. Orders for troop movements, submarine positions, and attack plans flowed through Enigma daily. The German High Command was convinced that even if messages were intercepted, they would remain indecipherable forever. But secrecy is fragile when intelligence meets persistence. Long before Britain officially entered the war, a group of Polish mathematicians had already cracked early versions of Enigma. Their work, smuggled out just before Poland fell, became the foundation of Allied code-breaking. When Britain faced the terrifying reality of standing alone against Nazi Germany, that knowledge was handed to a newly formed intelligence center hidden in the English countryside. It was called Bletchley Park. Bletchley Park was not a military base filled with soldiers. It was a strange gathering of mathematicians, linguists, chess champions, crossword puzzle experts, engineers, and eccentric geniuses. Among them was a quiet, brilliant man named Alan Turing, socially awkward, relentlessly focused, and intellectually unmatched. Turing understood something vital. Humans alone could not break Enigma fast enough. Machines would have to fight machines under constant pressure. Turing and his team designed electromechanical devices known as bombs. These machines tested thousands of Enigma settings every minute, narrowing down possibilities until a message cracked open. Each success revealed German plans, sometimes hours, sometimes days before they were executed. But breaking Enigma was only the beginning. German intelligence adapted constantly. New encryption keys were issued daily. Additional routers were added to Enigma machines. Any mistake by the Allies could alert Germany that their codes were compromised, ending the advantage overnight. Absolute secrecy became essential. Even when the Allies knew about an impending attack, they sometimes allowed it to happen to avoid revealing their intelligence capabilities. Nowhere was this more terrifying than in the Battle of the Atlantic. German U-boats prowled the ocean, sinking Allied supply ships by the thousands. Britain stood on the edge of starvation, but intercepted Enigma messages revealed submarine locations, patrol routes, and refueling schedules. Using this intelligence, Allied convoys were rerouted away from danger, while naval forces ambushed U-boats with deadly precision. Slowly, the tide turned. What had seemed like German dominance beneath the waves collapsed under the weight of information. Yet the public never knew why. Families were told ships were lost to bad weather or chance encounters. The truth was locked away, classified for decades. Victory was being engineered in silence. While Europe focused on Enigma, another intelligence war raged across the Pacific. Japan relied on a complex naval code known as JN25. Unlike Enigma, JN25 was not a machine-based cipher but a layered system combining codebooks and numerical encryption. Japanese commanders believed it was secure enough to coordinate operations across vast ocean distances. They were wrong. American codebreakers, working under immense pressure, began identifying patterns in intercepted messages. Slowly, fragments of meaning emerged. Names, coordinates, timelines. One breakthrough changed everything. In early 1942, U.S. intelligence suspected Japan was planning a massive attack on a location referred to only as AF. Analysts believed AF was Midway Island, but they needed confirmation. In a calculated gamble, Midway sent an unencrypted message reporting a water shortage. Shortly after, Japanese communications mentioned that AF was low on water. The trap was set. Armed with this intelligence, the United States positioned its aircraft carriers in advance of the Japanese fleet. When the Battle of Midway erupted, Japanese forces sailed straight into an ambush. Within days, Japan lost 4 aircraft carriers and the strategic initiative in the Pacific. It was one of the most decisive turning points of the war, achieved not by superior firepower, but by superior intelligence. As the war expanded, intelligence operations became more complex and more dangerous. Spies operated behind enemy lines. Resistance networks passed information through coded messages, invisible ink, and hidden radios. Double agents fed false information to enemy commanders, manipulating entire campaigns. One of the greatest intelligence deceptions in history occurred before the D-Day landings. The Allies knew that invading Nazi-occupied Europe would be the most dangerous operation of the war. Success depended on surprise. German forces had to be convinced the invasion would happen somewhere else. What followed was a masterclass in deception. Fake armies were created using inflatable tanks and wooden aircraft. False radio traffic suggested massive troop buildups in the wrong locations. Double agents, trusted by German intelligence, delivered carefully crafted lies. Encrypted messages reinforced the illusion. German high command became convinced the main invasion would land at Pas-de-Calais, not Normandy. Even after Allied troops stormed the beaches on June 6, 1944, German commanders hesitated to move reinforcements, believing Normandy was a diversion. That hesitation cost them the war in Western Europe. Behind the scenes, codebreakers worked around the clock, exhausted, sworn to secrecy, and often unaware of the full impact of their work. They continued decoding enemy plans until Germany's final collapse. When the war ended, there were no medals for most of them. No parades. Many were forbidden from even telling their families what they had done. Alan Turing himself would suffer a tragic fate, his contributions hidden by secrecy and prejudice for years after the war. But the truth remains undeniable. Intelligence won World War II. Not alone. Not without sacrifice. But without code-breaking, the war would have lasted longer, cost millions more lives, and perhaps ended very differently. Battles were shaped before they began. Fleets were destroyed before they sailed. Empires fell not just to armies, but to information. The Codebreakers War reminds us that history is not only written on battlefields, it is written in rooms filled with static, scribbled notes, spinning rotors, and minds racing against time. It is written by those who fought without recognition, whose victories were never meant to be known. And today, as modern wars shift into cyberspace and digital intelligence, the legacy of World War II codebreakers lives on. The silent war never truly ended. It only evolved. If you found this hidden chapter of history powerful and eye-opening, please like this video, subscribe to the Royal Era, and support our mission to uncover the stories history left in the shadows. Your support helps us bring these untold wars, secret victories, and forgotten heroes back into the light.